how expensive this industry can be.
Mm.
I hear providers paying anywhere between $700 to a bit over $1,000 a month.
What?
Yeah, per vehicle.
Welcome back to ZenPath Radio. I'm your host, Ryan San, and today I'm sitting down with Jewel Eccleston, and she's the owner of Nova CareLink out of Fairfax County, Virginia. So today we're going to be talking about her journey, how she got up and running with her NEMT business, and there's going to be a lot of knowledge in this interview. I know a lot of people, you guys have a lot of questions dealing with like insurance and, vans and a lot of other, questions. So if you have any specific questions, drop a comment below and we would love to, dive more into those questions. But before we dive into this interview, I have to let you guys know about ZenPath, our dispatch software. We are an NEMT dispatch software for sure to make everything a lot easier for your dispatching. It's fully customizable, it lives in your browser, and it's simplistic. So no need to continue writing things down, definitely sign up, and it's 100% free. So without further ado, let's dive into the interview. Jewel, how are you?
I am doing well, Ryan. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm glad to finally have you on. And I love your name badge.
Thank you.
Move your hair. Show it off. You got to show it off a little bit.
Nova CareLink.
I love it. It looks really nice. So Jewel, tell us a little bit about the area that you're in. First of all, let's start by that. Like, how's the weather today? Let's talk about that. How's the weather?
Oh, it's beautiful outside. It's probably mid-80s. I'm here in Fairfax County, Virginia, which is probably about 20 minutes outside of DC. With this area, we refer to it as the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And those are all of the areas that we service also.
Pretty busy area.
Oh, yeah, relatively busy. There are a lot of hospital systems here. There's a lot of nursing facilities here, a lot of people here. So the opportunities here should be pretty great.
Awesome. So dealing with like the NEMT, because you said it's a lot of facilities around that area. It's a metropolitan city, I'm guessing, right?
Yes.
So you're not in the country, you're in the city, correct?
Yeah, well, the suburb just outside of the city. So we're suburbs, but we're not too far from the city. Okay. And our suburbs are still heavily populated. Nice.
And is there also a lot of facilities in those areas too?
Oh, absolutely.
So there's facilities everywhere. So no matter your location, there's facilities everywhere.
Oh, absolutely.
Opportunity.
Sure.
So Jewel, tell us, we always like to start, by, kind of introducing how you got into the industry and just letting people know who you are. So let's start off by, start off by asking, how did you get into the NEMT industry? Like, where was your beginning?
So my beginning, my history is as a registered nurse. And so I was always aware of the need for medical transportation. I've worked heavily in hospice case management and then also with insurance. And I would receive calls a lot of times from patients who had no way of going to the doctors for their procedures. And so I saw that a need there. And then ironically, a YouTube had come up and I just happened to watch it one day from Joel Davis. And he speaks to non-emergency medical transportation. And Joel Davis also served as my mentor, one of my mentors starting up. But first watching his video, he explained of how great the need is, where the industry is headed within the next 20 years with the rising population and the chronic health diseases, and how lucrative the industry is and can become. And so that's how I first got into NEMT.
So were you binge watching Joel Davis a lot?
I see. I've been watching it. Yeah. And then I typed in search in YouTube and NEMT, and I saw that others were doing it as well. And they spoke to the need that's there. And so it definitely seemed to me that it was an industry that was pretty safe, relatively speaking, because the need is there. And so I thought it was a great opportunity, knowing that, being that I have relationships with different doctors in the area, different nursing facilities in the area, I felt that I was pretty comfortable in getting my foot in the door to some of those places. And so I just started researching how to start a business, and then developed Nova CareLink.
How much time did you invest in doing the research ahead of time, on YouTube? Like, were you binge watching a lot of YouTube videos, or did you just watch one or two videos and then you're like, I'm about to get up and running?
Yeah, I certainly watched several videos, and then along with that, I went on the internet to try to research non-emergency transportation also. Um, and then also the population. I went on to, I believe it was the Census Bureau, to see what the population of 65 and older, and then people with disabilities was in my area, again, from the Census Bureau. And we have over 15% of the population who has some sort of disability in my area. And then the population in my area of people who are 65 and older, I don't remember what the percentage was, but it was pretty high. And so I felt more comfortable going into this industry. I wouldn't encourage anyone who hasn't done that type of basic research to go into the industry. They should definitely start with doing something like that. And then also, from there, they can, if they wanted to test the waters to see whether or not they would be comfortable in the industry, they can also from there reach out to local competitors, people who are in the industry, and try to work with them for maybe a month or two to get their feet wet and get some experience to see if, because this can be a very expensive industry to enter. So doing those types of things can make sure that you're comfortable with this type of business, because it's very physical at times, very time consuming, and then expensive also. So you want to make sure that you are definitely sure that you can enter this industry before you potentially lose a lot of money and time.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, because it's nothing but vans, right? You have to buy a vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
A vehicle is not a cheap investment,
no,
right?
Not at all. Thousands of dollars.
So if you can name like 3 resources, not the links or anything, but like the resources, were they blogs? Was it, I know you mentioned YouTube. What other resources that you use to get up and running? Did you refer to gain knowledge?
So the Census Bureau being one of them. Okay. I did want to reach out. You can even speak to some of the, I don't know what they're called, NEMT now influencers, people who are mentors in the industry.
Where can you find them?
People in your area, and speak to how well they're doing with their business. Okay. But other than that, some of the resources that I used, oh, wow, there's so many. I looked up how many hospitals and how many nursing facilities were in my area. And there are quite a few, even within a 10-mile radius of my area. There's probably like 15 to 20. So you want to make sure that you're around a lot of different health facilities, and just that you have the population to support this type of industry.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a lot of resources out there, basically. It's not like it's hard to find, because I see a lot of questions on forums, and everybody's like, where to look for insurance, or what insurance to get, or this and that. But just talking to people, I realized that this information is not hard to find. It just takes a simple Google search.
You're right. It takes a lot of research, and it's kind of like digging yourself in a rabbit hole. Once you find one answer, you'll find that you'll have to do another step in forming a business even. So what I would encourage everyone to do who's looking to start any business, especially NEMT, is to go to, I believe it's their state county commission, that website, and look at the step-by-step process of what you need to do to enter this particular industry, or any business at all. The state commission, the SEC, go to that website and determine what steps are needed, because I see that in the blogs also. People are wondering what they need to do to form their LLC. In that link there, that website will give you step-by-step instructions.
Okay. So Julie, you're very knowledgeable in this space. It sounds like you know a lot. You did a lot of research. So you have to tell us, so what were you doing before starting your company? Where were you at?
I was working as a nurse telephonically, so at home. Throughout COVID, I was at home, being a case manager for people who have chronic health conditions. Okay. And again, a lot of times I would have to call different transportation companies in the area to try to find transportation for my patients. And either the transportation, there's only a few in my area, private companies who do this. And so it was very difficult to find them affordable and available transportation. So I was a telephone nurse.
You seen a window, basically.
Yeah.
You seen a window. You're like, you know what? I'm about to execute and you get to kill it, right?
Yeah, that's the plan.
I love it. So, was there any benefits, any skills that you learned that transcended into the NEMT space, what you're doing now, that you learned from nursing?
Absolutely. First and foremost, it gave me an idea of where different facilities are, how to speak with different administrators there at the facilities, what I can relate to the importance of showing up to pick people up on time for their appointments, because I see what can happen if the patient is there not there on time. It puts the staff in their schedule setback. The patients there don't get the care that they need when they need it. So I can speak to those things. Another thing that benefits me is that I think that having a health background, and I know there are a lot of people who are in the health field who are looking into getting into this industry. It makes people feel a bit more secure if you let them know that you have a health background. So not only are you their transportation provider, but maybe you can recognize abnormal signs or symptoms as you're on the road or, after their appointments. And you can kind of just explain to the staff at a facility or their family, what you may have noticed. And, maybe they'll take your word for it and get, investigate it further. Maybe they won't, but, people feel a bit more secure if they find that you have a healthcare background, or if you have security background, you've been a police officer, maybe. If you just find whatever it is that you've done in the past and use it to your benefit somehow, and market that as you market your business. This is how, not only just by providing with transportation, but I bring along these other skill sets.
You know what I have to say? I think even there's like a mental game to it too, because one thing about your personality, I think you're a very composed person. And so when dealing with, I feel like the healthcare and, you're looking for a service of this, this type, you want to go with someone that, is confident in what they're doing. They speak very clearly, and you can put your trust in that person, right? And so I think, I could be wrong, but it seems like nursing probably brought a sense of understanding and composure to it, where it's like, you know what, I understand this industry, and so you know how to talk to people. Is that, am I correct at all? Or
Yes, absolutely. Knowing how to mirror people's personalities or provide them with a sense of calm if they're feeling, stressed out for whatever reason before their appointments. And something that you don't have to have, that you don't necessarily, I didn't get from being a nurse. Anyone can possess this, but empathy. You have to be very empathetic for our clients, because they're not always at their best. And you have to show compassion and care and understanding, but also be very direct and get the job done quickly, because you have to move on to the next thing. So you have to kind of incorporate that as well in this industry, being compassionate, but also being on a timeline so that, you can get the job done.
You mentioned you were working remotely though, like with nursing, right? So were you able to build a lot of networking that when you were nursing that kind of transcended into the NEMT space?
Absolutely. In fact, before leaving, when I'd given my notice at my last job, I'd let them know that I was starting this. And so now the case managers there will reach out to me because they'd like to refer one of their patients. So if no matter what industry you're in, I would always say never leave when you're ready to leave your job to pursue this full time. Always put in a notice, never resign on bad terms, because you never know who will be that person who can refer people to your business. So you always want to make positive connections with people.
I used to watch, I used to listen to the podcast, How I Built This. You ever heard of How I Built This?
I have not. No.
It's NPR. Are you familiar with NPR?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it's an NPR podcast, and they interview a lot of tech, top tech companies. So such as like the founders of Atari. They had one with Zappos, and they even talked about Apple for a little bit. But one thing that they had in common was, when the founders first started, they, when they were working for the company, they will always go to the the higher ups of the company to look for that initial investment. So it sounds like it's kind of similar to what you were talking about. Like you told them, you left them good terms, you told them what you were doing, and they were like all in for you. They were supportive,
right.
And they gave you that kind of like that in a way that crutch, right, to get you up and running, and up and running and up and started. And sometimes that even the motivation, right?
Yes.
So I love hearing stories like that. I love hearing starts like that. That's like a powerful start. And so I think, that's definitely like the traits of a good beginning, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It helps to be able to start out with people who are willing to make some referrals for you. That's for sure.
Absolutely. They say a company is a collection of intelligent people. So, you can't never do it alone. It takes
That's right. You can't do it alone. That's for sure. That's for sure. Yep.
So what is the proper way of approaching, if you're going to let's say like a facility, right, to get a contract or what have you, or even a assisted living facility, what's the proper way to approach like someone to offer your services?
Well, you always want to take some form of marketing material with you.
Okay.
As for me, I have an executive welcome packet created by the team of Joel Davis. They did an awesome job. It's about a 6-page booklet that describes the services that we offer, and then also has a rate sheet at the back. So it allows the facilities to see what I would charge them. Your booklet can always be revised. You can always adjust the prices, so it's not set in stone. But you want to make sure that your executive welcome packet or whatever material that you bring matches your business card or matches the brochures. You want to make sure that all of your logos are all in sync. So that everything looks uniform. You leave a better lasting impression. But then when you speak to the administrator, preferably, because they're the ones who will probably be submitting your service agreement proposal to their legal team, you want to just let them know that if you're new, I wouldn't say that you're necessarily new, just say I'm new in your area, or we've expanded to your area.
I like that.
And then from there, let them know that what your hours are. That you take wheelchairs and ambulatory, or a bonus is if you offer stretcher services. And then just speak to how many facilities you have a service agreement with, if you do. If you don't, that's okay. You can let them know that you just handle right now private pay, or you work with a broker, but you're looking to develop more relationships with the facilities in this new area that you've expanded into. And you can discuss with them your vision of your company, the vision that you have with their facility, the things that separate you from other NEMT companies. For me, it's that I have a background in healthcare, that I'm a nurse, and a lot of times administrators like that. But whatever any other person's industry is, try to see how those traits or characteristics of the job translate into this industry, and speak highly to those traits.
So let's say if I'm an NEMT provider, do I just blindly walk into the facility? Do I give a heads up? Or
so what I do is I call the facilities first, and I call multiple facilities at a time. It takes a long time to call these facilities, so you'll probably be calling maybe 20, 25 in a day if you spend a whole day doing it. But you call them, just let them know who you are, request to speak with a administrator, or receive their email. I get better results from emailing the administrators. You want to have an electronic copy of your business card or brochure and attach it to that email, and let them know that you're an NEMT company looking to provide service for the residents of their facility, and you welcome the opportunity to speak with them so that they can learn more about your company. And then from there, maybe just leave it at that. A week goes by, if they haven't responded to you, drop off your business cards and your booklet for them to have, and then follow up with an email again. I hope.
What is the interval? If you don't hear a response, how long should you wait before following up with that other email?
I probably wait about 3 days to a week. Like, you don't want to maybe 2 weeks, but you just want to try to keep your business fresh on their mind. You are a service provider, a transportation service provider that's interested in working with them. So you want to have them repeatedly see your name and your brand and hear it that way, because they have needs for transportation all the time. And eventually they're going to look back to you, that email that you sent or that brochure that you left, and they're going to call you eventually.
Eventually they will call.
Yeah.
I see. So what about, a lot of people, when they walk into facilities, especially for the first time, I'm sure a lot of people can be, they're probably afraid of rejection, right? And that's understandable. A lot of people, rejection is a huge factor, right? And that's just business, right? That's the name of the game, So what's the proper way of dealing with rejection?
If they say that they aren't in need of your services now, just say, I'd love to leave you with my material for the future. If they say that they have their own van, of course, you could say, I can supplement your van. Perhaps your van doesn't run on the weekends or the off hours. You can always offer that. But the main thing about rejection is to not take it personally. You just have to understand that, a lot of times these administrators, or even the person who simply answers the phone at the facility, they're very busy. So it's not an attack on you. It's just they probably have a lot of things going on there in that you aren't aware of. You can't see it. I've been hung up on before, as I called facilities. And you have to go to the next one. I mean, and then you can always, leave a note for yourself to call them back at another time. Maybe someone else will answer the phone. But don't give up just because you've been rejected. Keep at it. In a month or two, go back to that facility that rejected you, and see if they are available to speak with you then.
I see. Is rejection do you face rejection a lot? Like, is it like a thing of just? I
feel every time that I don't get a call back or an email back, I feel like that's a form of rejection. So yes, I deal with rejection a lot. But it doesn't stop me from repeating my attempt to gain their business. So in this business or any business, you just have to keep just
brush it off and just keep going, right?
Going. Yeah.
I love it. So what's your viewpoint on outside marketing? Marketing your business via, whether Facebook ads, Instagram ads. Have you dove into any of that at all?
I haven't. And I know that with the new technology, marketing on social media, like, you have to do it nowadays. I haven't gotten into that yet. I'm looking for a good social media manager. So if anyone's watching this, please reach out. But I would love to start doing videos. There's another person that I follow on social media, Eric Allen. And I don't know if he's ever told us the name of his company, but he does 6-figure transportation, I believe is his tag, and he does the best videos to market his business. Awesome. They're very funny. So I would love to expand into that, but currently I have an Instagram account and a Facebook account. They're not very active, and I haven't done any video ads so far.
Awesome. What are you diving more into? Which social platform would you like to spend more time on? Was it Facebook, Instagram, TikTok?
I think because of the population that we pretty much target with NEMT, I would go with Facebook right now.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't leave out TikTok, because eventually people who use TikTok will need your services also.
Absolutely.
But I would start with Facebook.
So you're looking for someone the expertise in Facebook marketing or any platform, but specifically Facebook. Absolutely. To reach out to you. Okay. Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's talk more about your business. I'm curious to know, how many vans do you currently have?
I have one van.
You have one van. And what kind of van is that? It's
an E350 high top. I believe it's called a turtle top. So it's like the very high of the van. I'm
gonna plug a picture in it. I'm gonna plug a picture.
Okay. Oh, good.
Yeah, I'll plug a picture. Yeah. It's all right.
I have to say, they're not the most attractive vans, but they are ergonomically really friendly, because you don't have to slump over as you're handling the wheelchair. So it allows you to stand upright. So if you see those vehicles, that's the benefit of having one of those ugly E350s.
Was that your selling point, the positioning of it when driving?
No. I've seen a lot, several vans on the road. Like, you can't help but notice these vans everywhere. You
absolutely.
do it. And there's a lot of vans that are far off worse than the 4350. So I'm pretty happy with mine.
Well, the fact that they're big, first of all, it's like they're noticeable, right? So like that's definitely a way to be like, hey, I'm here, I'm in town, right?
That's right.
You can't miss it. You can't miss it.
And they're built like a tank. So if anything, God forbid, were to happen, I would expect that it wouldn't be too damaged because, they're very solid trucks.
Mm-hmm. How much does something like that run? Are they very expensive?
Yeah. So as far as the purchase price of the vehicle, mine is a 2014, and I paid $20,000 for it.
Wow.
Which I would buy other comparable vehicles. It had less than 100,000 miles on it. It can hold 3 wheelchairs. So we had an excellent value in it. It was previously used as a school bus or a school vehicle. So they had the maintenance records for it. It was well maintained. A lot of vehicles now, 2014, and so they go for mid-20s to 30,000. So we got a really good deal on it.
Now, I'm sure there's a lot of people, especially viewers that's watching this video. They may not have $20,000 sitting around, right? So, I mean, is there any alternatives? Could they get even an older model? Would you recommend that to find something cheaper than that, or?
Yes, there's a lot of ways to go about. A lot of people have their different theories about what type of vehicle to start off with. The large truck versus the minivan. I think it's more beneficial if you're able to go with a larger truck. But if you're not able to, start off with a minivan that costs less money, that's several years old. I wouldn't go more than 10 years with a vehicle that's older than 10 years, because in my experience, a lot of insurance companies won't insure the vehicle.
Interesting.
It doesn't have much of a value. So that would be my tip. Start off with a minivan. Try not to get one with too many miles, and also try not to get one older than 10 years old.
Not older than 10 years old. Got it. That's like something to write down. It's like,
note
that down. I love that. So on average, like, how many trips per week are you running?
Right now,
per week.
I'm running 5 to 10 trips per week. Keep in mind that we went operational in May. So here we are in June. I now have established relationships, so service agreements with 3 nursing facilities, and they just started giving me more business within the last 2 weeks. So that number is only going to go up from here, because now they just started calling.
I love your startup story. It just seems like you're really diving in the roots. You're not just like going, okay, I'm gonna get a broker and then have everything of like surface level. It's like you're really diving into those relationships. You know what I mean? And you're really learning the industry, getting your name out there.
Well, I have to say, I have had great mentors, from Eric Allen to Joel Davis. Like, they really explain the benefits of staying with private pay business. Of course, you use the brokers to supplement it, but you can't beat the rate of reimbursement, for one. And then, let's say that the broker, of course, no longer decides to give you trips, then there's your business right there. And so you're definitely more in control of your business, and you have more, your business is much more valuable if you build your business rather than having trips from brokers.
I see. And it's just talk to more facilities and more facilities, or is it outsourcing at that point?
Right. The marketing never stops. You want to try to tell at least one new person a day about your business. That's my goal every day, to explain what I do to one person a day, at least.
That's a good goal.
Thank you.
So you mentioned that you are private pay only, correct?
Yeah.
No brokers.
No brokers.
What inspired you to go that route?
Well, I was kind of forced in it because I reached out to 2 brokers. They're more of the larger brokers, one being Logisticare and the other, I can't remember the other, but both of them denied my request to be become a service provider for them because I only have one vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
They're not looking to work with any providers with less than 3 vehicles at this time.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was forced into the position. So, you're forced to go out and grind and, pass out business cards and marketing material when there's no other option.
Why do you think they do that? Well, I mean, why do you think?
I feel that it's not beneficial for them. Like maybe they don't want to invest the initial startup time. Maybe they won't see the rate of return on their end.
To make sure you're serious, basically.
Yeah.
I heard there's a huge churn. Like companies like pop up and then it's like they quickly come down, right? Mm-hmm. Is that a thing? So they're probably just trying to make sure like, the company, they're trying to like have that gateway where it's like.
It definitely can be because if you have 3 vehicles, unless you're starting off with 3, not many people in my experience that I know have done that.
Yeah.
If you have 3 vehicles, you've worked your way up to that. So you're more established. So you're, not likely to fold in the first year or the second year, you've already overcome that initial startup period and you're more established. So that could be why they do it also.
Well, if you end up, like dominating with the private pay, like why, like what's the benefits of going to a broker?
I wouldn't. If there's no need to supplement private pay, I absolutely won't. I feel that the brokers, while, some people, from what I can tell, they profited from brokers. But you have to work twice as hard and do twice as many trips to earn.
And I heard it's less pay. I heard that also.
Exactly. So I wouldn't want to put my business at twice the liability, the risk of liability of an accident or anything that can go wrong. I'd prefer to maximize the amount of money that I get with as little trips as I can.
Yeah. Is that like an Uber thing going on? Like, how, a lot of people, they work for Uber and, they get all this cash and they think they're making money, but they don't take into consideration that it takes a lot of wear and tear on their vehicles. Right. So a lot of their profit goes towards wear and tear, which Uber and Lyft doesn't cover. So is that the same thing with like brokers also, where it's like, yes, you get more trips and it looks like, things are climbing up, but they don't really cover the wear and tear. Is that how that works?
Absolutely. Well, absolutely. That's one of the things that you have to consider also is that you're really running your vehicle into the ground for not much of a rate of reimbursement. And so you're not able to save maybe as much unless you're doing a high volume of trips for them and you have many vehicles. But if you have, 2 or 3 vehicles, you may not be able to save as much as you'd like for those instances where you need repairs or something goes wrong.
I see. So what's some key things to consider when dealing with like using brokers, right? So maybe it's, brokers versus private pay. So whether it's, if you're using brokers, do they handle your billing? Do they handle like a lot of automated services for you that when you're doing private pay, you have to do that yourself? Is there anything to consider when deciding which one to choose?
I would imagine you would have to choose what you would use as your billing, your point of sale system. Some point of sales aren't compatible, from my understanding, with brokers. But then also which routing software you use. If you use certain brokers, they are only compatible with X, Y, and Z.
Because they plug right into it, probably.
Right, plug right into it.
I see.
I'm not at the point to where I need routing software yet with just one vehicle. If I were to get routing software, and if you're unsure, if you want to work with brokers, I would strongly suggest that people choose a routing software that's compatible with brokers, because you'll be investing money, or you may find yourself in a contract with a routing software company that isn't compatible with a broker. So, that's something to consider. But that's pretty much all I can think of.
Understood. Because I just think, when dealing with like brokers versus private pay, a lot of times, people always try to negotiate prices and stuff like that. Right. Like, and I feel like maybe dealing with a broker, you probably don't have to deal with that kind of thing. Is that the case a lot of times?
Well, to my understanding, dealing with the broker, you can negotiate your prices.
No, I'm saying private pay.
Oh, private pay. Okay.
Yeah.
That I haven't come across that yet.
Okay.
Each facility were accepting of my rates. But I do know that facilities can counter your offer. It just hasn't happened to me yet.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. I see.
So man, I don't know. My prices are pretty. They're pretty much market rate in my area, but it almost makes me wonder if I'm charging too low.
So how was it difficult to find insurance provider for your NEMT company?
It was. I probably applied with maybe 5 different companies.
Wow.
Before one insurance broker actually got back to me with a quote that it was reasonable. I'm in this area. I'm paying roughly about $1,000 a month.
Wow.
So I really want people to understand there's a lot of people that I see who really want to enter the industry, but they have to know before they invest any money how expensive this industry can be. So I hear providers paying anywhere between $700 to a bit over $1,000 a month.
What?
Yeah, per vehicle.
Oh my God.
And keeping in mind, I'm just minutes outside of DC, so it's a highly populated area, city or suburb. But I had to apply with several different insurance providers before I found one.
Are they key dominating insurance providers globally or nationwide, or are there specific ones in each individual like state? For example, like State Farm is nationwide, right? Like everybody knows State Farm,
Right.
or like that kind of thing.
So mine, I don't believe that they're nationwide. They are only licensed to work in certain states. One of them being Virginia.
Okay, so you just have to, it sounds like you just have to look around in your area, basically.
Yep.
Do a simple Google search, right?
A Google search for any NEMT insurance.
Any NEMT insurance, and then your city.
I wouldn't keep it to one particular city. I would just Google all the companies that you can find and just making calls. I mean, I guess you could do NEMT rather than city, state, NEMT Virginia, because it's going to go by state rather than city or county. I
see. So were there any top competitor or other considerations that you were looking at when looking at you mentioned 20. So is there a way you can name like at least like 3 of them? Just put them out there, like
as far as insurance?
Yeah, as far as insurance, yeah.
Oh.
Just to give people like a starting point,
No, it has.
Are they all locally to Virginia?
They're not local to Virginia.
Okay.
No. Like how did I do it? If you were to just Google, I honestly can't think of any names. I would absolutely share them if I could. I can't even think of the name of my insurance provider. But just Google NEMT insurance, and you'll definitely have plenty of hits, and you'll have to do what I did. Some insurance providers that service Virginia may not service New York or any other state. So you just have to call and explain to them where you are and see if they're available to you.
Okay, that's one thing that I just feel like it must be either not as transparent, or a lot of people just aren't taking that step, because I see nothing but comments on forums talking about insurance, like what insurance to get. And I feel like either people are looking for like a one size fits all, one kind of pill fits all, like kind of thing, or it's just not transparent. I don't know what the thing is, right? But it seems like everyone has this like, what insurance to get? What is, what are insurance companies? But it sounds like what you're saying, you have to look in your area, right?
Yes.
You have to, it is going to be a difficult task, and you just kind of have to kind of fight through that difficult task. It sounds like.
Absolutely. Okay. And if you were to go to, I believe it's a DMAS, the DMAS website. It's basically the Department of Medicaid and Social Services, I believe it stands for.
Okay.
Search NEMT And if that state, if they work with brokers, they should be able to tell you what brokers on that website. And then also they may have leads for insurance from their website also.
Okay. So you have to tell us, Jewel. So with Nova CareLink, what can riders, this is for the riders out there. So what can riders expect riding with Nova CareLink versus the others?
They can expect compassion. They can expect prompt arrival. They can expect that if we have a single rider, that we will keep their family members informed of when they arrive to the facility and when they depart, so that, you know, they always know where their loved one is. They can expect comfort. They can expect that we will provide them with world-class service. You know, so we care about them. We want to get them safely without any injuries, without any incidents or accidents. And they can always give us a call, 571-462-7114.
I love it. Have you built any personal connection with your clients, with your riders?
Well, I have a lady who has used me within the last 3 months, so far about 5 times.
Okay.
So a great family, they call us often. And so, yeah, we have established relationships.
I see. I think that's very important. That's very important. And
Yeah.
I think, and I've heard like a lot of times, you know, like, you know, it means a lot when, you know, when they're a little bit higher in age and they kind of need that social outlet, you know?
Yeah.
And so that ties into the whole service. I love that aspect of it, you know? Yeah, that's amazing. So what does the future of your business look like? Like, are you planning on hiring, expanding? Yeah, what is the future?
Yes. I'm hoping to have a second vehicle within the next 3 to 4 months.
I lost you. Okay, you're right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
I'm hoping to have a second vehicle within the next 3 to 4 months. Because business is beginning to trend that way. We're definitely getting more calls.
Okay.
In order to save money, I'm going to probably hire a family member to help with the second vehicle. And that's also something that I would suggest for everyone. You know, look for ways to where you don't have to spend money. You can save money and put it towards vehicle maintenance, you know, the purchase of a vehicle, your insurance, savings. But yeah, my ultimate goal would probably to have a fleet of maybe, you know, 10, 15 vehicles, possibly sell it and then focus on real estate. So this is an initial step to building wealth and then expanding into other avenues.
I love it. So, is there any, so you mentioned that you are looking to network a lot more in your community. You know, you want to be able to partner up with other NEMT providers. And I think that's amazing. So tell us more about, you know, what your vision is when it comes to that kind of thing.
So I'd love to see the Virginia NEMT providers get together, maybe have a forum somewhere here in the state to where we can all meet each other, tell each other our stories, and then maybe bounce ideas off of one another. Because there really is enough room in this industry for, you know, many of us, you know, to do well. So we could look at it to where we're competitors, but we're also each other's colleagues. And then I'd like to be able to, if there is a ride that I can't support because my schedule is busy, I'd like to be able to offer that ride to another company and vice versa. If they aren't able to support someone, they can automatically refer them to me. If there's ever a time that they want to take off, they want to go on vacation with their family, I could be the transport provider that they lean on to provide their transports. So just, you know, a group of us who, you know, trust each other. We all know that we provide great service and, you know, we can work as a, you know, a support group from one another.
I love that. So is there a cap on this group? Are you looking for a large ecosystem or are you looking for a small collection of these providers, or what are you kind of like targeting?
I would look for anyone who's willing to join. I don't really know what to expect from it, but if anyone's interested, feel free to reach out to me. There's a woman on one of the Facebook book groups that I'm following, who's going to be working to put something together. Hopefully it goes through. If not, I'll pick up the baton and take the lead with that, just try to, get us to collaborate and to try to help each other succeed.
I love it. So where can these providers reach out to you? What's the best way of contacting you?
They can, any provider can always reach me on Facebook, and it's Nova, Nova .CareLink, CareLink.
We'll plug a link in the description. Yeah.
Yeah,
also,
perfect.
Yeah, we'll plug a link in the description.
And then Instagram also. I have an Instagram account. If you'd like to refer anyone, if you know anyone in Virginia who needs a ride, again, 571-462-7114. And my website is www.novacarelink.net.
Awesome. What about TikTok? Are you dancing on TikTok
at all?
No,
I don't have any videos on TikTok.
Right, for my NEMT company. I love it. No, definitely. Okay. So yeah, definitely if anyone is definitely looking to connect with Jewel, we're going to leave all our contact information in the description. And yeah, if you have any further questions, if we didn't cover certain topics, and you just want to, ask a little bit more, detailed questions, feel free to reach out to her. She's very friendly. She's very knowledgeable. And just we'd love to hear, you guys' opinion on what you thought of this interview. Drop a comment below. Let us know what questions you would like us to ask in the future and what you liked about the interview. And yeah, we would love to, like I said, we would love to hear from you all. So without further ado, thank you all for watching, and take care.